why is it our last best chance? If we look at what happens in Syria, in Iraq, and I don't know where else, when Islamic fundamentalists, as crazy as Daesh and the others are, people who are ruthless killers in the full sense of the word, who are taking over, and in the meantime, you're seeing a whole country collapsing apart into pieces, and being run by these hoodlums, by these killers, by these bloodthirsty guys, that watching some of the videos on YouTube, but what they think, what the kind of atrocities they carry out against fellow Muslims, even not against only Christians or others, but even against fellow Muslims, only because they happen to belong to the Shiites or to different school of thought within Islam. We don't want this to continue. That's on one hand. And luckily, in Egypt, there was, the military at a certain point stepped in. I know that the US called it a military coup against the Muslim Brotherhood, but that was the only way that someone could take things under control in Egypt. Otherwise, we would have also seen Egypt collapsing the way that Syria and Iraq did. So it is the whole universe, the whole Middle East is changing around us. We either find a place where we can live together, not only live together as occupied and occupiers, but as equal, the same eye level, so that we can work together against this kind of hoodlums who may or may not reach to the border. And believe me, when they get close to the River Jordan, they'll be a threat to me more than they are a threat to them.
Thank you very much.
I want to know if the Israeli Arabs what likes with Jerusalem. If we have in a future a solution.
Take the microphone closer.
If we have a solution in the future, I want to know what the Israeli Arab like with Jerusalem.
We don't know.
Israeli Arabs live in Israel and they are an integral part of the state and they will continue to live in Israel. It's their matter with the government to secure the kind of rights and privileges that every other citizen of the country has. When it comes to the Palestinians, there will be citizens of the Palestinian state, and that is also equally their right to fight for their own for rights and privileges, equality, like everybody else in everywhere in the world. That's
I think she meant the Israeli Arabs of Jerusalem.
The Israeli Arabs that
Jerusalem, or speak about.
I want to know if Israeli Arabs want to be Israeli or want to be.
I think this is a choice. I think this is a choice. Like if there is a peace agreement happening between the two sides.
That's a different session. That's a different
like,
session.
Which exactly like you are where you
another
come
conference
from.
on this.
Another conference.
it's not a different question
Where you come from, like,
because the Palestinian Authority just
Elias has a question, answer for this, but last one, yes, please.
just mention that Palestinian
Asaf, yes, please.
Palestinian calling the Arab in Israel the Palestinian 48. So this is a very important thing to mention, that the Palestinians in Israel are saying that we are Palestinian.
I think
Because they are
yourself you're saying Judeans
They are
are
Palestinian. So she asked you if they want to be a Palestinian or Israel.
Okay, Elias, we'll think about it.
No,
My question-
answer is simple. They can choose to continue living in Israel as Israeli citizens, or they might apply for coming to the state of Palestine and live there, like every other citizen anywhere else.
Okay, my question
Last
is to
one.
Summer and to Elias. A one-word answer for the first question. Was it difficult at all to come here today?
For me, it's very cool.
I don't mean physically difficult at the checkpoint. I mean, was it difficult to sit in front of this room?
I want to say it here, like I have a GPO card, but like I want to show you guys something here.
No, was it difficult psychologically to sit in front of this audience?
Psychologically, not just today, and not just because of what's happened for the 3 kids, not just because of the kidnapping. You know, it is a daily basis for me to come into my office in Jerusalem. When I come, I'm not allowed to go inside the car. I have to go walking, and if I'm lucky, it will take with me 35 minutes.
Thank you for coming. I do have one more quick question, which is I haven't heard about what we've seen or what you're seeing in the Palestinian press regarding the abductions. And I wonder if you could each give a sentence on things that you're seeing in the press.
Okay, Asaf,
Norman, Moshe?
Specifically to Elias and Sam. Yeah, Elias and Sam.
As I mentioned, there is a big gap between the Abu Mazen said, condemning the kidnap, and what we are seeing in the Facebook. I mentioned Facebook because it's the youngest, yes, that are.
No, I mean in the press, in the newspapers.
In the newspapers.
And I wanted to ask Elias and Samer, I think.
Okay.
You can rebut afterwards, but I'd like to hear their opinion.
Response on the reaction of the Palestinian press on the abduction of
The Palestinian press, since the abduction of the 3 Israelis, well, it reported the incident on the first day, and then became more busy covering the repercussions that broke out after the kidnapping, i.e. the measures of the Israeli army breaking into the cities, houses, arresting people, and in due course, 3 or 4 Palestinians so far have been killed, others were wounded, and up to 380 people were injured. So the kind of I would say even monotonous reporting that you can see over the last 10 days since the kidnapping was basically more and more reports about the measures of the Israeli army in the BA areas as well as in Area C that are under Israeli control. But if you hear comments about, nobody even, I haven't read a piece where they really salute the kidnappers and say, oh, you did a great job. No. And I'll tell you one little story. I had a very little one. I got a call from an Israeli friend who's a reporter, and he said, Elias, this is really insane. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, open page Facebook, there's a cartoon there, which is even published on Fatah official website. And I said, what that? Explain it to me. And he explained to me that cartoon. I rushed to the printer, printed out, and took it to a number of friends of mine who happened to be, 3 of them are members of Fatah Central Committee. And I went into their office and I said, guys, what is this? The cartoon shows in a fishing rod, a Palestinian holding a fishing rod, and at the end 3 mice are called.
No mice.
Rats.
Rats. Okay.
Rats.
I thought it was rats. And it says settlers, referring to the.
It's not saying settler. It's Magen David.
Referring to the 3 kidnapped. Anyway, so I put that on that table and I said, what is this? And they looked at it. This is awful. The first reaction. I said, you know that this is on Fatah official page. He said, no way. So they called, one of them took the phone, called the editor of the page, and he said, what is this? He said, this cartoon has been worldwide. I think it came out even in Egypt, maybe. I don't know where. And he said, it's been. He said, I don't want to see it on Fatah official page. In 10 seconds, by the time I left their office, went to the closest computer, I checked, it wasn't there, at least not on their page. We understand the sensitivity, but we cannot control people's way of thinking. In cartoons, there were cartoons for which cities were built because a cartoon, presented Prophet Muhammad in a way or whatever.
But why they put it there?
What?
In the first place.
I'm telling you, it's not good. And he was told that to take it off and he was reprimanded. And I'm telling you that when mistakes happen, we try to address these mistakes in the way we can.
Oh, he tells you to stop.
I will answer like a small thing about the Palestinian media, how they covered the story. It's exactly when the kidnapping happened, everyone reported everything that shows up. And suddenly the Israeli army was all around. Everyone started thinking about what he could speak about it, and there was a lack of information. There was no information about the kidnapping more than the first story that shows up. So there was no stories. And then the Israeli army started going into houses, broken down.
Any columnists, nothing?
There is a lot of people who did write about it the first days. But in the end of the day, this is what I'm going to. After the second day, with the Israeli army going into offices of the media, broken down the whole office of the media, cutting cables and destroying the offices, it changed the whole story. The whole story shows up that where to cover it. And I want to speak about, tell you the name of, it was Al-Aqsa television where they goes live. But the problem in that spot itself, Channel 10, Channel 2, the same correspondence goes from the same spot with Al-Aqsa guy to make live. So it was giving services to the three channels. And I'm speaking about Channel 10, Channel 2, and Al-Aqsa. So they destroyed it.
So it was
Not
like
just-
JCS in Ramallah, not Al-Aqsa.
it is not
Right.
just, so like not just in that office. There was several offices, even Bal Media was given services. So the problem shows up differently when you go inside the Palestinian territories now, which is exactly what happened yesterday with the police. The Israeli army was surrounding the police station. Everyone filmed that picture, and then suddenly the whole Palestinian troops went all around to the police, throwing rocks at them, and this became the story, not the kidnapping. So like there was a late information, and this is what changed the story.
Stop, Samuel.
Thank you. Last word, Joel.
Yeah.
Quick one.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I know you addressed the question to Palestinian colleagues, but I just wanted to, just for perspective, just so we can understand a little bit. I think that the source of support for kidnapping among Palestinian public opinion is not a love of kidnapping, it's that Palestinians feel, many Palestinians, that the only way that they've succeeded to free prisoners from Israel is by abducting.
Senior Fatah officials said yesterday at the time.
See Shalit. See the Shalit case. I don't have to say more than that. So there's a wide consensus among ordinary people who feel that again they don't love kidnapping. They're not professional kidnappers, but they see it as the only means to get Israel to cough up prisoners.
Well, Israel understands the language of abductions.
Okay, that's I just wanted to say that. Also, I don't think Palestinians have a monopoly on kidnapping. There were cases in Lebanon where Israel kidnapped Lebanese figures like Mustafa Dirani, Sheikh Abdul Karim Obeid, Hezbollah-linked people as bargaining chips for the release of Ron Arad. So Israel has also employed this method. Palestinians consider administrative detention a form of kidnapping when you see somebody, hold them without trial indefinitely, with no charges and no trial. So one man's kidnapper is another man's terrorist? I don't know. I mean, it's a very complicated subject in which the moral black and white, of course, it depends what side of the conflict you're on. If you're on one side, you see it one way. If you're on the other, you see it the other. So I'm just doing that to provide a little perspective.
I want to mention
last word.
You mentioned the newspapers at Sharq al-Awsat. You mentioned about all the Israeli doing after the kidnap. Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki said maybe Israel was invented the kidnap. It's one of the options that he put on the table because to act against the Palestinian. And I personally go out for the equity between the kidnap of Tirani and kidnap of 3 children on the hitchhike.
Thank you. On this happy note, I want to thank Asaf Gibor, Joel Greenberg, Elias Zananiri, Mark Harvey,